Let's get more reaction. Israel's Education Minister Naftali Bennett is in Jerusalem. He heads the Jewish Home Party, which proposes that Israel extend its sovereignty to large chunks of the West Bank. Thank you so much for being here with us. What is your broad reaction to that long speech we just heard from John Kerry?
Well, it's profoundly disconnected from reality. The reality is that this administration's policy has left the Middle East up in flames, Syria conducting a genocide, and now Iran racing towards a nuclear weapon, while the one free democracy has been thrown under the bus, and that's Israel. You know, we're out there fighting the battle against radical Islam with Hezbollah, with Hamas, against ISIS, and we're the only ones on the ground saving Syrian lives, and we're the ones that are being abandoned.
Well, Syria aside, just in terms of Israeli-Palestinian, that basic way to move forward, his assessment was the two-state solution was in jeopardy. Is he wrong when he says that that is the only way forward for a lasting peace for both Palestine and Israel?
There are two states. There's a Palestinian state in Gaza with borders, with a central government, and it's turned into Afghanistan. It's turned into a terror state. What Kerry wants us to do is redo that in the heart of our country. And one more thing, he's calling our capital, Jerusalem, occupied territory. One cannot occupy his own land. Jerusalem has been the Jewish capital for well over 3,000 years, and no speech and no UN resolution will change that.
You said in an interview only 3 days ago, the way of the left has failed. Now it's time to try our solution, sovereignty, taking the maximum territory with the minimum Palestinians. So you don't believe in a two-state solution, do you? I mean, you're effectively talking about annexation, and John Kerry referred to that exactly in his speech just now.
The way forward to peace is precisely what I said. In Gaza, there's a Palestinian state. In Judea and Samaria, what you call the occupied territories, we have to apply Israeli sovereignty on the Jewish areas and provide an autonomy for the Palestinians in the Palestinian areas. That's the only realistic way forward. We've been trying this messianic idea of injecting a Palestinian state in the heart of Israel, dividing Jerusalem, and it blows up again and again, and every time we're surprised. It's time to try a fresh approach, and I think the world is waking up.
When you talk, though, about sovereignty and more land, I mean, do you not accept that that would be seen as hugely provocative, and if you go down that avenue, you risk just yet another spiral of violence?
Tell me, you know, when you're talking about land like Jerusalem, we've been in Jerusalem for 3,000 years. You've been in London for about 2,000 years. So we were 1,000 years before Brits have been in London. Why is it seen as a provocation to live in our own eternal city? The entire Judeo-Christian culture understands that the Holy Land has been Jewish for almost 4,000 years. So this whole notion of occupation is just doesn't make sense. Yes, there are Palestinians that live here. Yes, we want that separation. The plan, applying Israeli sovereignty on the Jewish areas, allowing the Palestinians their autonomy and a Palestinian state in Gaza, which already exists. There's two states for two peoples.
We are almost out of time, so this answer needs to be a couple of sentences. Do you hope for a different approach come the Trump administration?
We do. You know, when I saw those ambassadors in the UN clap, I just thought of the backwind it's giving thousands of terrorists around the world that see that the one single democratic state is being thrown under the bus by all these ambassadors. I'm afraid that it might generate more terror attacks in Berlin, Brussels, or Orlando. We're out there fighting ISIS, fighting Hamas, and we will prevail.
Well, Minister, we are out of time, but thanks for your time speaking to us here on the BBC. There is plenty more analysis to that speech from John Kerry. It was a long speech, so plenty more reaction. Do stay with us. We're back shortly.